There they are.
Well, greetings and welcome, everyone. You are in the zone, the Biz Info Zone, and I am so excited that you're here with me today because today is March 17th, and we've had some really crazy stuff happening today. And I'm not even sure. Okay, I did not bring my audience in yet. So, Shira, everyone, you are in the zone. Is that me? I think that's me. I am so excited that you're here with me today. Oh, because. All right, that's there. Now I'm going here. And sending a message. If you could do some sound vibration for me, I would really appreciate that because I'm going to attempt to triple task here, sending this message as well as talking and inviting my audience in.
Great. I'm going to start the sound now then. Is that okay?
Yes. Will I be able to speak in between stuff and stuff?
Sure. And if I hear you talking, I'll just quiet the bowl a little and let you do what you need to do. We'll only do it for a minute or so, just enough to rebalance things.
Great. So as we are going to use the sound vibration, quiet the energy, and allow us to come back up to this place of beauty and maybe I won't double because I don't know what I'm doing here. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment. And I'm just going to do one more thing in order to hopefully rebalance the audience and their ability to view from inside the Hangout. And don't think it will. But I will keep an eye on the Google Hangouts event page as we are moving forward into today's show. How does the magic of life show up but to present itself in the way of a challenge and allow you the opportunity to move through it, around it, over it, under it, or just dissolve it so that it goes away and you continue your forward movement. And that's actually what the Biz Info Zone is all about. Today's show guest is, as you have seen and heard, Shira Hunt, who is amazing. And I want to just give you a little bit of background on what brought us together and the space that she is in, that I am in, that we are bringing so many others into. And we really got introduced through wonderful Lynn Sanders and the Difference Makers Summit. And what I learned through Shira's presentation on the Difference Makers Summit is the value of sound, music, and voice, and just the even the sounds that we hear when we quiet ourselves. And the question that came up for today was, what do vibrational therapy and leadership have in common? And today, Shira, singer, songwriter, vibrational therapist, speaker, educator, entrepreneur, and CEO of Vibrationally Sound, is passionate and dedicated to helping others understand their personal power, their innate ability to heal, and the leadership qualities that surface as a result of being vibrationally balanced and clear. So, what is vibrational clarity? It's expressed in each of us daily when the question come up about why do I feel this way or why do I feel that way. And I have to tell you, after getting to know her and reading her bio, nurse, holistic, a hospice nurse, holistic healer, music and alternative therapies, and the life experience that she's had that has really brought her to teaching this work the way that she does. It's just been amazing. And I'll let her expound upon it a bit. You can read more of her bio on the event page, and she's going to unveil some of her key strategies for removing the masks, for becoming balanced and living this fearless life of leadership, whether you're a leader of one, yourself, a leader of families, small communities, or large groups. We're going to speak to that today. And on that note, I want to say thank you for your diligence in getting into the hangout with me today. I'm so grateful to be here and to share this time with you. Welcome to the show, Shira Hunt.
Thank you, Lynn, and I'm grateful to be here. And yes, it was a bit of a challenge getting in today, but as you can see, we overcame, so it's all good. So I honor you, and I'm grateful to be present with you and to bring this work to people, because it's a powerful time right now to be alive. So we need to all have as many tools as we can, to get ourselves on path and in a harmonic alignment so that we can bring our greatest selves to the planet.
Yes, thank you. And you're so right. Harmonic alignment. I do a lot of talking about the heart of business. And the heart of business truly is the harmony that it's expressed from you into and through your business that goes out into the world. And so I'm going to enjoy being in this conversation today. And my first question is, please tell our audience how you got on this journey to do this amazing work and bring such illumination to so many, especially in this entrepreneurial world.
Sure. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. It was a 3-year process in the beginning when I had a car accident in 2000. And I busted my right side up pretty good, but the lower right portion of my leg was shattered. The tibia and fibula, the two main bones in the lower portion of the leg, were in 14 different pieces. And I broke what is called the epiphysis, that little round portion at the base of the bone. And that's where you create new bone tissue. So as a nurse at the time, I was well aware of what I was up against. And the doctors told me, it's not going to heal. You can't even create bone tissue. We need to amputate below the knee. And I just couldn't fathom it. And that created a process for me of unfolding around the medical establishments, my nursing career, and my body. All of it kind of came in at one time. I refused the amputation against medical advice. I asked them to put it back together, and they did. I had 14 different pieces that they approximated, and they pinned them to a titanium plate, although the pieces wouldn't really reach. And so there wasn't any bone touching that could actually recreate. And after 6 months of waiting for bone tissue, they kept x-raying, and there was nothing. And they basically told me, time is up. If you don't have any new bone tissue in 6 months, you won't have. And we're going to take you off the antibiotics. I had a hole in the front of my leg where the bones had exited. And so they were filling me with antibiotic to keep from getting infected, because nobody was addressing the wound because they thought they were going to amputate. And so when that happened, I said, give me one more month. And at that time, I went searching for what alternative therapy, what naturopathic therapy, what else could I do? And oddly enough, in my insurance, there were 2 treatments that were covered that I, as a nurse, really didn't know much about. One was shock therapy and one was frequency therapy. And I knew shock therapy a bit, from some of my psych training, but I didn't know anything about frequency therapy. So I decided to opt for that. And the way that treatment came to me was through an ultrasound machine set at the frequency of bone. I had no clue bone had a frequency. And so when I put that machine on, after opting for that therapy, the first time I put it on, I felt something in my leg. And through the whole first 6 months, the leg was kind of detached from my body. I couldn't feel it. My foot wouldn't work. It wouldn't listen to me. I couldn't get my leg to work. And so when I put that on and felt something, in my heart, I knew this is going to work. And so that was the process. About 3 weeks into using that machine every single day for about an hour a day, I had the tiny little bit of bone growth tissue showing. And so that was all I needed. I was sure it was going to work. It took a little over 2 years of that kind of therapy. And in the meantime, I had another little coincidental thing that happened. I had she was actually a healing touch therapist, and I was a certified healing touch therapist at the time also, and she was coming and doing treatments on me. And she had a full set of crystal bowls, and she was bringing a different bowl every time. And one time she brought a bowl, and when she was playing it, I felt in my leg what I felt with the ultrasound machine. And I went into total excitement. I thought, what is going on there? And I just sat up on the bed and I said, what frequency is that bowl? And she said, well, what do you mean? I said, what frequency is it? She said, how would I know? I said, it's the frequency of bone. I said, because it's affecting my leg like the ultrasound machine does. And then that sent me on a huge journey. If that bowl is the frequency of bone, what's the frequency of all the other bowls that she was bringing? And so the research started. So by the time I got enough bone to stand on, after a couple of years, that the whole process for those 2 years was learning, searching out everything that had to do with frequency, beginning to understand what it meant. And that's how my practice actually started.
Wow, that is an amazing story. And I have to say, I'm, very intrigued by the bowls, the sounds. They really do make a difference vibrationally in how I feel, some more than others, and didn't really equate it to meaning this. So this is amazing. How, when we were talking, we had in our discussion this piece on leadership. And I see in your journey the leadership qualities and the leader that emerged from you as you were seeking out this information, and as you were, not just seeking out, but, doing your bits of testing and reviewing the results to see what the real impact was for these different things that you were finding as you were seeking. Tell us a little bit about how your leadership experience in that journey came.
Okay. Ultimately, I think, leadership is really about knowing yourself, really knowing yourself fully. And oftentimes that's kind of a lifetime journey. But when we have enough information about what we are passionate about and what excites us and what the things that we have learned that have changed our worlds, then I think that it's our duty, when we uncover something that is powerful, empowering, to ourselves and others, that it's our duty to bring it. I don't think it's not okay to have some kind of wisdom or some kind of knowledge or some kind of experience in your life and not open up to others and share it, because we're all on a journey and many of us resonate very similarly. So the things that have occurred for us are going to be things that other people will need. And ultimately what I've found, and I'm sure you have in your business too, is that the people who are seeking what you have learned or what you know will naturally gravitate to you. So as you develop this truth of who you are, this strength of your inner knowing, then the projection of that into your world through the frequencies will draw to you the people who need it. And so I think that that's kind of how leadership comes about, is we get this divine knowing within us that is really powerful, empowering, and then we are open to bring that to others. And I think that that's how mine kind of started.
Oh, what a beautiful story. And a great way to migrate through how to even identify when you're put in situations that challenge you, much less the leader in you. And so, as we're going through this, you know, you mentioned about the masks that we wear and how, especially as leaders, when we don't recognize the masks that we're wearing, what happens to us? And, you know, this whole idea of balance, what is that all about?
That's a really great question, because oftentimes the masks that we wear, we learn them very, very young in life, even before the age of 5. And we learn how to present ourselves in a way that people will listen to us, because we all want to be heard. And many times as children, we're not. You know, we also will wear a lot of times the mask of articulating the way another can understand it. Now, for one thing, that's a really powerful way to build rapport, is to be able to speak in a language that others can understand. But I think as a leader, what you really have to do is come into divine alignment with yourself. And that means, one, losing the need to be validated, losing the need to be appreciated, losing the need to be right, losing the need to be superior. All of these things, to me, are killers of leadership, and really of your divine essence. You know, when we need to be appreciated or valued by another, we will sell ourselves out, whether we mean to or not. It will happen. And so we have to become so clear within ourselves, and we have to value within ourselves what we are good at, so that we don't put a mask on, so that we come, to me, it's kind of like coming naked, and that scares people to death, you know, but ultimately it's what we have to be. And we have to be able to say, I don't have an answer to that one, or I don't know that one, but boy, I'll tell you what, let me get on it and let's see what we can find out. You know, I'm willing to search and seek if there's something that somebody wants to know that I haven't uncovered yet. You know, I'm the first one to go back to the training table, and I love learning. And I think, you know, when you quit learning, it's a slow death. It's like, I really don't want to be there. You know? It's like, this is just part of the journey on this planet. It's always going to be evolving and expanding. So losing the masks, I think, really is about being in divine integrity with yourself, and just knowing that if the people who happen to be listening to you at that time are in alignment with what it is you have to bring, then it will be perfect for them. And if they're not, that's okay too. Then they're not the people that you're going to make the deep connection with and bring, you know, your process to. And they're not all going to be that. That's okay. You know, that we just have to be in truth about where we're going and focus on that and let it be enough.
I agree. You know, one of the things that I often find myself bringing in clarity to the world is the fact that everything is not for everyone. Therefore, it would be safe to assume, and, you know, is a truth, that everyone is not for everyone. And what we do is take it personally.
Oh, yeah.
We take it to the place where it's my fault. But instead, realizing that we are individuals, and talk to us about the fact that we are individuals, that we do sometimes have this space of non-resonance I'll put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. What you just hit on is our individuality is a frequency pattern, like your thumbprint, like the iris. You know, some people can read the iris, the Chinese can get an entire body off the ear or the bottom of the foot. That's what your voice is. Okay, your voice carries every single frequency in your body, and that creates a picturing, an out picturing of everything in you. And so I use the voice printing, which there are programs where you can literally take a person's print in the program, and we can get a graph and we can see what your print looks like, so we can look at your frequency patterns. And so if there is something that's out of alignment, out of integrity, if you have a pattern that you're unsure of, or maybe you don't even know it's there, a lot of our patterns are just that. You know, we look at ourselves, we see blah, 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 but there's something hidden underneath that's coming out in us that other people may be seeing, but we do not, because we're running the pattern. We're not looking at it consciously. So a big piece of that individuality of ours is to become, one, slow down, begin to listen how you speak, hear your language. Many times, like I have some very divine, what I call my divine friendships. And a divine friend will say to me, "Did you hear what you just said? You know, that doesn't really resonate with what you teach." And I'll be like, "Huh, yeah, oh, okay, you know, you're right." And it's like, thank you for the revelation. Because, and I say that to my friends, if I'm out of alignment and I say or do anything that doesn't speak to what I teach and what I'm passionate about, you better tell me. You know, I'm counting on you. You better tell me. And so that's the kind of friends, to me, that are those deep resonating friends that we get so close with. They know everything about us. There's nothing that we wouldn't say in front of them. And those friends have opened that space for me to begin to relate to my world that way. It's like, I know, like you said, everybody's not going to like us. No, of course not. You know, look at all the different personalities on the planet. It would be crazy to think that everybody's going to love you, you know? And like you said, taking this personally, that's a real issue for us. You know, we have to begin to set the parameters of honoring how another person feels. You know, I once heard someone say that world peace will ensue when each and every one of us can accept the differences of all others. And so if somebody doesn't resonate with what I do, if they don't believe what I believe, if they don't like how I act, then I honor that. I respect them for being in integrity with not liking me. You know, I'm good with that. We don't have to hang out. That's fine, you know, and thank you for bringing your truth to me. And so that's a piece that if each of us can lose the need to be validated and we can just honor where everyone else is, then we get into a place of divine self-love, divine self-acceptance. And then when you have that, there's nothing on the planet you can't love. When you have that for yourself, it's easy. It's easy to look at others and say, oh, this is just where they are right now. You know, I'm okay with that. And let it go.
I love how you said that, because I thoroughly and completely agree with you. And I also know that, you know, many of us as adults, even when we understand that there is that space of self-acceptance and self-love, and you know, there's a space where I don't have to be in seeking others' validation. Yet I don't know how to get from where I'm in this space of self-doubt. And I won't say necessarily self-deprecation, but pretty close to that, or maybe that is it. You know, I hear a lot of people, even, you know, in their older ages and leaders, in fact, saying things like, oh, I'm so stupid, and, you know, this type of thing. And, you know, even in a joking manner.
Yeah.
And what would you know, what are some key things that people can do to move out of that space and actually allow it to be more conscious when they do go there so that they can correct it and come out.
Right. So there's a lot of pieces to what you just asked. It's a big one. First, there is literally this daily commitment to self. And if you don't really know what your frequency processes look like, if you don't really know where your problems are, this is an issue, okay? But one thing, on my website, on the products page actually, if you go to where the chakra care kits are, underneath each kit, there are 7 kits for every energy system in the body. Underneath each kit is a list of things that go wrong with that energy system. Now, if you're not familiar with the chakras, then each of those energy centers are associated with a different part of the body too. So you can look at it like that also. And the questions that are posed underneath each of these kits, if you go through and take a pen and paper and write down how many of them resonate with you, how many of them are true under each kit, whichever kit has the most hits on it. So let's say it might be the root chakra or it might be the heart chakra. Whichever one you say, oh yeah, I've got all those, all that stuff's going wrong for me. If that's true, then that's your starting point. Okay, and with that will be listed what key it is, because every portion of the body resonates with a different frequency key. And that's how I do the work. So your root chakra is C, your sacral is D, your solar plexus is E. It walks right up the body like a keyboard, okay? Heart chakra is F. And so you can take that note if that's one of your problem areas, and you can begin to listen to music in that key and begin to bring yourself back into resonance, because what you're speaking to is oftentimes hidden patterns. And this is where the voice print is so valuable, because we don't even know what the problems are a lot of times, but we can see them very clearly in the voice print. And it's like the person might not really know why that root and sacral is so depleted. And it has something to do with their survival mechanisms or their self-worth, okay? But they might not get that. They might say, oh, I'm fine. I've been working on that for years and everything's good. Well, yes and no. It's not. It's good on the surface. Okay, but underneath it's not. And here's the thing that people need to understand. We're driven by the hardcore process on our physical planet. But what is pulling things into you, what's creating your space, is the unseen. It's the frequency pattern that you're putting out. So if inside, if you're in denial with this lack of self-worth, or fear of not having enough, or fear of not enough money, or let's say your world is even showing you that, okay, then that's the frequency that's going out from you into the world. And that's what's coming back to you, because that's the way the universe works. Whatever frequency is happening, whatever is in alignment and vibrates to it will gravitate to it. So you are creating your world based on the hidden patterns that you are, the frequencies that you are sending out. Now, they're not always hidden, so I want to be careful how I say that, because I'm much clearer these days because I've done so much work around those hidden things. But if something shows up in my world that I don't expect to be in my world, I know immediately. If you have in your world not the job that you want, or not enough money, or you're living in an environment that you don't like, this is a clear indicator of what is in your frequency patterns, because you literally manifest on your physical plane what it is that's coming out of your frequencies.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, I'm getting an echo again there. I think it went away. We have got some amazing people in the audience today, and I just would love to acknowledge them. We got the fabulous Josie James and Roland Takaoka and Vivekananda Rao, Ramal Andoy. And one of the things that has come up is around the losing the need for validation, and the word need actually goes a little deeper than just validation. losing the need for, that someone to be there whenever I need them there, losing the need for, and you mentioned it, being right, being the top dog. If we look at ourselves in the world as being a part of the team that's moving towards peace on earth, healing the environment, how can we see others more clearly in order to be in our authentic selves and say, whether it's verbally or mentally, it's okay?
Yeah. This is an internal job, Lynn. That's truly what it is that it's really not about what you're seeing outside of you. It's about what you're projecting onto it. And just recently, something has shifted for me. And I've always been a really happy, kind of up, happy-go-lucky kind of person. And I can find the good in anything, And it's actually how I lost my last husband. I was the Pollyanna. He was tired of the Pollyanna, always finding something good about everything. And what he would say to me is that, you don't have a realistic look at anything. It's like you pretend nothing's going wrong. And I said, no, I know things are going wrong out there. Absolutely. But why would I put my energy into that? Why would I feed that? What I'm going to do is put my energy into something that I can make a difference in, that I can be of value in, that I can shift and change within my little space here in my backyard. That's all any of us can do. So when it comes to viewing our world, it's not that there aren't horrible things happening out there, but a part of me also understands that we are not able to see our greatness without something less than that. It's like we have to have the contrast. We have to have the dark and light. We have to have the day and night. We have to have what we term as good and bad. I don't see it that way anymore. And what has occurred for me is this space of truly, there's an awakening of some kind that has left me looking at all of it as divine. It's all divine, and even when I hear something horrible has happened, I go inside and I reach for the compassion around who was the person who killed the other. I don't want them to be punished or be killed or be hurt either. My heart breaks wide open for the person who might have been killed or injured or hurt. But by the same token, we don't accomplish anything by killing another. This is a kindergarten teaching. Two wrongs don't make a right. And so now my heart opens and says, I love you right where you are, just as you are. I love you. How can I be of service in this? And I open my heart. And a lot of times I'll go to sounding if something, terrible has been brought to my attention. I'll go to sounding and I bring my light to the situation. And I just ask, let me be of service in whatever way I can. And so it's within us that we have to begin to change our perspective that everything in this world is on purpose. There are no accidents. And if this is something that I would not desire to happen in my world, then I understand it is a guidance. It is a guiding light for me to move into a greater space of love, kindness, compassion, and giving of myself.
Beautifully said. I love it, especially the compassion conversation. One of the comments that Roland has made out here, it becomes easier to be kind or I would say, or be right. It's easier to be kind when being right, and being right is less important. And then I love how you brought all of this into the space of the divine, because truly compassion is the key. And in compassion, you can be the change. You can perceive things differently. You can stand in that space. And while I know that there are many people who have and show compassion for some, it's difficult to show compassion for all. How would you say, or what would you say is maybe even a method of bridging that gap and expanding beyond the sum to being compassionate for all?
Yeah. So this is like a deep desire within self to be the divine. So in order for us to come to that space for others, we have to embrace our greatness, our divinity, our personal self-love. And when we're in that space, it opens up the ability to release all of those needs that we were talking about before and just come to the planet whole. You know, one of the things that I believe about divine relationship is that, to me, it's my job to come to any relationship. I don't care if it's an intimate one, a friendship, a family, it doesn't matter. It's my job to come to my relationships full, not coming there looking for anything. Because the minute that I need something from the other person, I put on them a qualification by which I would need them to perform in order for me to be happy. So I've just trapped them into something. So if we within ourselves feel full, feel whole, feel complete, and this is kind of what my frequency work is about for me, is that if I'm out of alignment, I do my sounding daily to keep myself in that harmonic resonance. Because when you're in that harmonic resonance, you don't need anything. It's not that you would never ask for something, or it's not that you would ever not reach out and for help for someone. But if they say no to you, you can bless that. You know, it doesn't change your world and it doesn't upset you. And ultimately, if you do reach out and ask, you need to do that always knowing that you want them to be in integrity and answer you in truth, not just do your bidding. You know, that, and oftentimes I will even put it that way. You know, I'm going to ask a question of you, but I want you to know I'm fine if you don't want to do it. Or I'm fine if this one doesn't work for you. I'm good, but could you? You know, and so I always just give them an out rather than make them feel responsible, because that's kind of our cultural thing. If somebody asks us for something, we don't want to say no because we think they won't like us as much, or we think that they'll judge us, or they'll think we're rude, whatever our stories are, you know? And ultimately, we have to be ready to hear the no if we ask for something. And it's a preference. It's not a need. It's a preference. And so when we get full within ourselves, and so that whatever work it is that brings you into your fullness, whatever it is that you do that makes you feel like you're on purpose on the planet, you know, that's the piece that's going to keep you in a place where you can come with compassion for all. Because ultimately, we all know this, Lynn. When we see another struggling, stumbling, doing something that we wouldn't do, or possibly even doing something that would hurt us, we've all done it at some time in our life. None of us are devoid of that. We've all made mistakes. We've all done things we wish we hadn't. And if we can hold people in that space of knowing, this is a magical little phrase, we're all doing the best we can. And that, I believe that, truly believe that in every moment, everyone is doing the best they can. If they could do better, they would. It's that simple. So how can we not have compassion, regardless of what they're doing, if they're doing the best they can? It's all they have in this moment.
Beautiful. We're all doing the best we can, which allows us to be in the space of compassion and coming to the planet whole in your divinity, feeling on purpose. And as it relates to leaders and leadership, I'm sorry, do you want to say something?
I was just going to say one thing, that for everyone, the compassion begins with you. It has to begin with us. Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was going to be part of my question. There are so many of us who, even thwart the idea of leadership. I can be a leader of one. I'll lead me. That's all I want to commit to, feel responsible for, and that's okay. However, any of the work to expand and that whole expansion thing and evolving thing is really a big thing, especially when, for me, we're talking about accelerated business development, which is the space that I thrive in. And, there is no expansion without working first on yourself. And so I'm glad you brought that up. You stole my So let me see here. While I'm thinking of another question, there is one here from Vivekananda. I am yet to get out of this mask of logical thinking. It's the hardest one, he says, for him to remove. It keeps coming back. Do you have any suggestions about, and I mentioned a little earlier in the Google Plus comments that there are so many masks that we end up having to look at as it is looking at us.
Yes.
Yet there may be those few that challenge us. And so do you have something that you might be able to share with us on that?
Sure. That's a great question, because culturally we're driven by this. We're taught this rules, and we work most of our life to enhance that, to learn everything, to get knowledgeable, to be intelligent. And so then it really gets in our way. And so ultimately, one of the easiest things to do, one, I want you to know, if you sound or sing, it opens the heart chakra. And I have uncovered this doing Prince and literally asking people to do that when they're having heart issues. And so when you sound, the heart chakra opens. And so if you're caught in your head and you can't seem to shut that thing off and it's running you, hairy canary all over the place, put your hand over your heart and just let a note come. If you love to sing and you have a song, do that. But the vowel sound that is in resonance with the heart chakra is ah. And this is universal, actually, where some of the other chakras, the sounds are a little different. The heart, on all my research, it's like every culture says that the heart chakra vowel sound is ah. So if you just put your hand over your heart when your mind is being a little crazy, and just slow yourself down a little, take a breath, and just go, just let it ring and feel it. It will pull you right out of your head and into your body. And if you're in a public place, do it silently, do it inside. It will have the same effect, whether you do it out loud or inside.
Oh, that's beautiful. And, there's so many of us, myself included, who have had music in their lives for so many years. And then you get to this point in space where it's just like the music has gone. You stop listening to some of your favorite songs, and every once in a while something will happen and music will show up, but you don't hold on to it. This is so key, to have the sounds that rejuvenate us and balance us, to show up for us on a daily basis. And so question, if someone doesn't have bowls and the chimes, and that's one of the things that I loved about chimes, but now that I understand that there's certain tones, maybe I'll hear chimes even a little differently. But give us some suggestions on what we might do. I love this one, hand on the heart and the ah. Is there something else we might be able to do in our daily practice?
Sure. Begin very simply first. There's a quote in my level 1 class that comes up at one of our breaks. It's the Zulu medicine man. When people come to him with problems, he doesn't ask them what their symptoms are. or when they got sick, he asks them, when did you quit singing? Yeah, powerful,
Ooh.
powerful piece of information. And so ultimately, I mean, long time ago, song, chant, music was a really big piece of our cultural underpinning. Tribes danced and sing for their crops, for food, for health. You know, it was part of what we did as human beings, and we've lost that. And so, first off, you know, begin to reach for that on a daily basis. And it can be a simple thing. Pull up your favorite song from when you were 16. It doesn't matter, you know, but something that just lights you up. And I mean, we have so many devices these days, people. Put it on your phone, put it on your MP3, put it on your computer, put it somewhere on a CD, stick it in your car, you know. But begin to bring something that will raise your frequencies a little, that will energize you a little, that will wake you up, so to speak. That'll make you want to get up and dance. You know, that's another thing that shifts the frequencies amazingly enough. I mean, just get up and move your body to a piece of music and watch how different you feel. I mean, it's incredible. Everything, you know, we're talking mainly about sound, but everything is frequency. Everything on the planet has a frequency. It vibrates. The vibration makes a sound, and sound is the basis of creation. It's where manifestation starts. So whatever it is that you love, bring it. You know, bring it into your space daily and begin to shift your frequencies just to pull you a little closer to the harmonic resonance that you're seeking. You know, a little bit. You know, what is the saying? You know, like level 1 is better than level none. It's like a little bit. Version 1 is better than version none. A little bit of something is gonna help make the shift if you do it consistently. Consistency is very, very important. You need to commit to yourself daily. You've got to love yourself that much, and this is part of that inside work, you know. And what I've learned is that if you're not there, if you don't love yourself that much yet, then begin with the frequencies. Let the frequencies take you there. If you commit to a frequency, a new frequency pattern that is from where you are depleted, it will shift your thought processes. It will bring you into another place after it takes about 21 to 30 days to completely shift a frequency pattern. But if you will commit to listening to those frequencies every day for about 20 minutes, it will do it for you. You don't even have to have the answers to that.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. And we've got a couple of comments out here. Vivekananda says he meditates every day and he keeps repeating the word Om. And that is his vibrational connection. And he says, thank you for the advice on the mask piece. And it's really amazing to see the shifts that can come about because of sound. Now, we often think about deaf people, and because they don't hear sound. Does sound, and this is a key question for us, because I think that your answer is going to shatter people's beliefs around the value and the power in the sound vibration. But suppose you're deaf, you don't hear sound. What do you hear? I mean, what do you experience there?
And see, I'm not deaf, so I can't speak to that directly, but I will tell you my experience with people who have those issues. First off, there's a whole lot more happening here than just hearing, okay? Like you said, the frequency, you keep using two words together, which is really powerful, frequency and vibration, because that's the truth of it. Deaf people hear through their feeling of the vibration. And I mean, you know, there was a section, I think it was Mozart who went deaf. There was a section of his life period where he was still writing music and he went deaf. you know? So there's a whole lot more to that than just what he was hearing. He was writing symphonies with no hearing. And so this is a valuable piece of information. The most empowering piece of this is to understand is that when I said everything is frequency, every single thing is emitting a sound. Some of them we hear, some of them we don't. So in some respects, we are deaf also. We are deaf to frequencies that are below 20 hertz and above 20,000 hertz. Okay, our range is from 20 hertz to about 20,000 hertz in the human being. Now, dogs hear twice that much, cats hear 3 times that much, dolphins and whales 200 times what we hear. Their frequency range of hearing is so much greater. In some ways, that's actually, our hearing range is debilitating to us because it keeps us from developing those skills like a deaf person has, where we would get much more sensitive to the frequencies that are in our environment. Because the wall, the chair that you're sitting on, the table in front of you, they all put off frequencies. If they are out of balance with what we need, and this is what happens a lot of times to people at work, the work environment that they're at is so out of balance for them, frequency-wise, that it totally dishevels their frequency patterns and it puts them in a horrible mood, a cranky mood. It's not necessarily about going to work. It could be the environment you're in. That humming fax machine that's next to you all day long, or the 13 computers all around you, that might be overwhelming for your frequency patterns. And you don't get it because you haven't been taught that your world is full of frequencies. Some of them you hear and some of them you don't. All of them are affecting you. They cannot not affect you because you are a frequency instrument. And so it's empowerment to understand that and to begin to recognize when you start to feel a little out of kilter, look around. Where are you? What's happening? You know, and do you feel like that every day when you're in this space? Because boy, something needs to change there, or you need to get out. You know? But this is part of the wisdom of beginning to become more sensitive to what's in our spaces and understand how it's affecting us. And that's kind of slowing down and getting real with ourselves as part of that kind of coming into alignment with understanding that and beginning to feel it fully.
Wow. This has been so powerful. I am so grateful that you brought this information in because it's really a key piece of understanding for us to do bigger business, to have the greater relationships that we like. And the key things that I think really resonated for me out of this is that the power in this energetic frequency, the vibration that we emit from not just our hearts, but our voice, and our voice is the sound of our heart, so to speak.
Yes.
And I love that because in that knowledge, taking that knowledge into a business meeting, taking that knowledge into a seminar or a webinar that we're doing, we can actually balance ourselves out in where it is that we desire to come from and deliver in a much more powerful way. And so I love that. And as I look at the time, we did get started late, and I do want to honor your time. And I know that we could go on talking about this subject for hours and hours upon hours. Yet I know that you've brought something amazing as a gift for our audience. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, I sent you a copy of it. It's a comprehensive frequency tool. And basically, it's a lot of research that has all been pulled together and put on a chart. The chart is laid out like a piano keyboard, so it starts at the key of C, and goes all the way through a full octave. It will tell you what is in resonance with each of those keys or notes. And ultimately, It will tell you even things like what are some physical issues that occur when those things go awry. Will tell you what is in alignment with your actual birth note as associated with your astrological piece. It will give you emotional aspects to those things. There are mantras on there related to each one. So a lot of times for people who are having some issues, a calming way to bring themselves back into alignment is to find their birth note frequency on there according to their astrological chart. Go across and find the mantra and chant the mantra to yourself. And if you chant it in that key, it's also your birth note key is very nourishing and very supportive to you. So, but there's just a lot of frequency information on that chart. That's a chart that I created probably about 10 years ago after years of research in this work.
Well, I happened to take a look at the chart. It's beautiful. I wish I could share my screen and show it to everyone, but I want to make sure that everyone knows how to grab their copy of it. And you can do that by going to vibrationallysound.com. And is it on the first page, or do they have to click through to get to it?
There's one in the products page, but I think the easiest way, you can either contact me right there on the website or go to vibrationallysound@gmail.com, and I'll send you like a high-end JPEG of it so it's very clear for you. Because I'm not sure if you pull it off the website how clear it would really be because of the JPEGs that are on there, but I'm happy to give you a really clean copy of that if you're interested in that.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, totally interested in it. And like I said, I was able to take a quick look at it, and I'm seeing some things that I want to jump into. And so I encourage our audience to do that. Send an email to vibrationallysound@gmail.com, or go to the website, check it out, and decide from looking at it there if you want a real copy that you can pull and utilize for yourself. Write to Shira, let her know that you heard about her from the Biz Info Zone show, and request the chart. It's beautiful, and it's got some amazing information on it. So thank you so much, Shira. And do you have any last words to bring to our audience to kind of wrap things up for today? And I want to once again let people know that they can find you at vibrationallysound.com. Connect with Shira. She's got some amazing things going on over there. And now I will hush so that you can answer the question.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been an honor to be able to bring forth some of the things that I think are really empowering to us as individuals. But probably the one thing that I would like to say to wrap it all up is what my true understanding of leadership is for me. And that is that it's never about worrying about how many followers you have. To me, a true leader cultivates their divine presence. They come to the plate with whatever it is they have to offer, and then they lead. They lead by being the first one to take the step forward into that realm. They lead by doing what they do well and letting others come along if that's what really resonates with them. So to me, the leadership is just about being absolutely real and bringing myself to this planet in integrity.
Oh, thank you so much. It has truly been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show today. To our audience, thank you for joining us. I'm so grateful to you that you stuck around. And do email Shira. Get your copy of the chart. It's going to be quite eye-opening, I can assure you. And then join us again right here next week for another powerful show on the Biz Info Zone show. You are amazing. Remember, open hearts, open hearts. Be the open heart wherever you're traveling in the next week until you get back here next week. And in the meantime, comment some more. Let us know what you thought about the show and the chart. That way we'll know you got it. And we'll see you next week. Now, Shira, do you have a couple of minutes? You want to hang around for the after show and see if anyone wants to jump in the after show with us?
Sure, I can do that.
Thank you. Great.
Yes.
Well, I will be putting the link to the after show in the comments here on the YouTube page. And I invite you to join us there. Those of you who can will be there for a couple of minutes. And I'm Velan Hawkins. I'm your host. Purpose and planning to get yourself into inspired action so that profits and prosperity are knocking on your door. So thanks again for joining us today. We'll see you right here next week. Bye for now.